Check 1, 2. Hey, Jared, can you say something?
Check 1, 2, check 1, 2, check 1, 2.
There we go. Okay, I think we're good to go. All right.
Awesome.
So, throw a big old like in those comments if you can hear us now.
That is embarrassing.
Is it though?
Not really.
For our podcast about anime, this
that
is
we're definitely not experts on.
Yeah. Okay. Real quick, back to the intro. Hello, I am Jimmy.
I'm Jared.
And this is Area Nerdy 1, and we're talking about anime this month.
We're just back from our break, so we're starting off strong with a theme month anime. I almost said October. It's August. Wow, this year is flying by.
We've got about T-minus 10 minutes before they start throwing Halloween stuff into the stores.
You mean Christmas stuff?
Don't even, no. The one thing keeping Christmas from creeping up on us is Halloween.
Christmas will steadily encompass our entire lives. But for right now, August is reserved for anime. So what we were talking about while we were talking to nobody, just each other, we were talking about what anime really is and what the main animes are. So anime is a type of style originating in Japan. It does also have some story structures that blend over into other shows.
So I put the story up. We got a question. What is anime?
Yep.
Which I'm gonna say it as anime for the rest of this episode. So
did you know he went to Japan once?
I went to Japan.
Oh my god.
Oh god. Yeah. So yeah, I haven't shut up about it since. Okay.
Yeah.
So
we know.
What we got here, like I said, are the big three animes. They are One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, and then sort of I don't know why this isn't on the top list more often, but definitely Dragon Ball.
I feel like it's not considered the top, for ratings, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, when people say anime, they go Naruto, One Piece. But for, like, really, really casual people, like, people that have never watched a day of anime know who Goku is.
That's true.
They know what Dragon Ball is, approximately. So I think Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Z Kai definitely has more broader appeal in snippets than the other anime. And, of course, I've never... before we came back, I was saying that Jimmy and I have given the old college try to One Piece, Naruto, and to some extent Dragon Ball Z.
I haven't really watched Bleach ever.
I've never watched Bleach.
No.
I hear when I talk to people that like anime, they say Bleach is the best out of all of them.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it involves something like demons and monsters.
Every anime involves hunting demons and monsters at some point.
Okay, so we've obviously all these animes have good things. I think that One Piece has, if it's not great world building, but it's great world style. It's very stylized, and it's kind of interesting. It's like watching anime Candyland almost.
Yeah, it's like Looney Tunes but anime.
Yeah. Naruto is a little. I will say this about Naruto. I have never come across a franchise where the fans give so little shits about the main character.
Oh my god, yeah. It seems like every other character has their own story going on, and nobody else cares. Not even like the actual, people watching the show.
Yeah, for research up for this episode, I was like, okay, what do people think about Naruto? And they're like, basically, they don't like it because there's not a ton of character development, and Naruto only wins because he's the super chosen one. Yeah,
which is another stereotype of a lot of anime. Anime really lean into that whole chosen one stuff, which is fine. Most stories do the hero's journey and everything,
right?
But it's a bit different when because a lot of anime also rely on a lot of small fights leading up to big boss battles. But when your anime protagonist basically wins everything, it kind of gets
right.
The other thing is, we're going to go into this. So there are animes we do like. I will say this right now. We're going to shit all over anime for a little bit.
Well, we got to talk about animes that are awesome. Okay, why don't we launch into what constitutes anime, especially for us, because it's such a it's kind of a nebulous term almost.
So I think for me, anime is just the anime style made in Japan originally.
Right, okay.
So Avatar: The Last Airbender has an anime style, but it was originated in America and it was produced in America, so I don't consider that anime, though it takes inspiration from anime.
Right. So anime generally like you say, I got some manga drawings up here. So manga is the comic books that come from Japan, and they tend to be mass produced, and they tend to like anime, they are drawn in a style that's easily reproducible and easily transferable.
Which can lead to one of the issues that we have is like a lot of the time when we're watching one of the big three or one of the older animes is it really does feel like they are copying and pasting from something else.
Right. Especially the first season of One Piece, which we're watching, which you can watch on Netflix. I think it's the not unabridged, but the non-4Kids one.
Yeah.
Where they show the blood and stuff.
Like, not with the awesome intro, though.
Right, yeah. I will say that about One Piece. The 4Kids version had an intro that slapped way harder than any other intro I've ever come across.
It was unreasonably good. 4Kids, like, people dump on 4Kids, but they had some good shows.
Yeah, when people are like, "What's he listening to in the gym that's got him such a serious face?" Not
Yo-ho, yo-ho,
no,
it's the One Piece.
That's right. It makes me want to be a pirate.
Yeah.
So another thing but on one hand, you got things like One Piece, the first season, where the fight scenes are literally just still shots.
Yeah. So what the issues I really didn't watch a ton of anime.
Yeah.
Until we made that bet with Matt.
Right.
I casually watched Hunter x Hunter, but I'll get into that later. But we made the bet where Jimmy and I would watch 100 episodes of One Piece.
Right.
And Matt would watch Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, which I feel like was he had the better side of that
He's definitely
deal.
getting the better end of that stick, yeah.
And I gotta be honest with you, I don't think I enjoyed One Piece whatsoever. It was really slow, and it was 100 episodes, and I couldn't remember what happened.
Right.
You know, it's just like too much.
I enjoyed one episode of the first 100 episodes of One Piece, and that was the Roronoa origin story. A side episode.
Yeah.
And it was, I was good because it was grounded, it was understated, it was concise. It was a story, it was heartfelt. It was tragic in a way that wasn't overwrought too.
Yeah.
Like you definitely felt like, like I expected it to be one of those things like, the bad guy burned my village and now I've sworn lifelong revenge and that's why I promised my, the girl who was killed that I would be the world's greatest swordsman. But he's like, no, as a kid, he made this promise to this girl who just had an accident afterwards, and it stuck with him.
Yep.
It's like, why is that so much more powerful than anything else going on in this show?
Because it's relatable. Like, you can relate to Roronoa.
Roronoa Zoro.
I'm just going to call him Zoro.
Yeah, that's what the rest of us do.
You can relate to that. Like, I don't,
It's like Bridge to Terabithia.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Don't even get me started.
No. Another thing is that anime really has this trope because like it's very, especially back when One Piece and Naruto and Bleach and Dragon Ball Z especially started out, animation was very expensive. So you have a lot of like still shots, like
like the power-up shots for 17 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, 17 episodes. We make fun of that, but it's because they had to make content and make it cheaply. So there's a lot of points where something will happen, and then somebody will explain it, and then somebody will re-explain it. So for an episode, you waste about 3 minutes of explaining what is happening, and then that thing happening.
Yeah, but that also comes from, I think I'm bringing up the graphic here. I think that comes from the shonen style. So you see here, this is a cover of Shonen Jump, which is like a monthly collection of comics, basically.
Yeah.
And kind of like if you read, monthly comics or something like even Prince Valiant, which you have in the newspapers, like there's a little section of that each one devoted to kind of recapping what happened the week before.
Yeah.
It's like a cartoon episode. So whereas but a shonen, but in the shonen thing, like it's only a little bit each issue. So we're watching an episode that's like 3 or 4 shonen issues. So they're like recapping it.
Yeah.
Multiple times per
Prince
episode.
Valiant, that's a throwback. Like, remember that? Because we lived in a small town. So when we would get the
those kids today aren't going to know what a newspaper is.
Find the Windows key. But we would get the newspapers, and obviously being young kids, we would go right to the comics.
Right.
So there's like this general comics, the funny ones,
like
the
Peanuts, Family
BC,
yeah,
Garfield, whatnot.
Boomer comics.
Yeah, Boomer comics. And Prince Valiant's like more like an adventure comic, PG. So like, it's episodic. So like, this Prince Valiant with his like bull haircut, like a Captain Kangaroo haircut, will be doing like I don't know, like ship like golden one episode, and then be in the middle of the desert the next episode.
Yeah.
And that dude's always getting betrayed and tied up.
And then his like absolute bay of a wife shows up and like saves his ass every time.
Yeah, and then he's just like, that's my woman, and then never thank her for any of it.
He's just like, yeah, that happened. I'm the best.
God damn it! It got tied up again.
Yeah. So, those are a little bit off topic, but
Yeah.
those were interesting because they're kind of like Conan the Barbarian-esque because they're a lot of they're really fantasy inspired.
Yeah, but there was another, like, I remember those were, they were, like, grounded in a way because there was no, like, fantasy elements. Like, it was just, like, kind of like our world physics and like, animals and stuff. It's just that it's made up stuff.
Right.
Like kingdoms and whatnot.
Yeah, I remember specifically I started reading that as a kid because he was, like, fighting the Loch Ness Monster or something. I was like, oh shit.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's super, highly fantasy-based.
Okay.
But, it was always interesting because, like, on one hand you have, like, fucking, Peanuts and BC where they're, very, very simplistic comics. And all of those were, like, they look like they're meant to be full-page spreads artwork. Yeah. But speaking of, getting back to anime, which is what our issue is today, so another anime that a lot of people probably know have heard of is Studio Ghibli,
Right.
famous for
My Neighbor Totoro.
My Neighbor Totoro, Howl's Moving Castle, which you see here. Hopefully everyone can see the detail in this.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what something like Studio Ghibli does. So like on one hand you have Shonen Jump, or in the anime that comes from it, and on the other hand you have Studio Ghibli, which is highly, highly creative.
Mhm.
And while there's some parts of their animation will be a little bit more simplistic, like the characters, the actual moving parts, they heavily focus on the background. So like every background is immaculate and looks like a Flemish painting almost.
Yeah. And they're like, I feel like they're not really, I don't consider that anime. Because it doesn't follow the exact anime tropes, and it goes after, like, if you watch 200 episodes of One Piece,
Mhm.
and then watch, like, Princess Mononoke, those are not the two things. Like,
Right.
Like, the tropes that are in One Piece are not the tropes that are in Princess Mononoke or Howl's Moving Castle whatsoever. The art style might be similar.
But it's not even that the art style is similar, it's just the noses are simplistic.
Yeah.
Like, that's about as close as
That's it. Yeah, so I don't consider that anime.
Yeah.
I consider anime to be, like, something very, very specific.
So would you consider that so I consider anime really just kind of any animation that comes from Japan that has certain characteristics to it, but you're saying it's like an even smaller sliver of that.
I would say, like, yeah, kind of. I would say if Avatar: The Last Airbender had a lot more anime tropes, like they felt
Right.
like they made it like an anime. Like,
Right.
When like when Aang's going to do an air blast, Katara says, "Oh, he's going to use an air blast," and then he uses his air blast and says what it is and how he's going to do it.
And right before every attack he announces it.
Yeah, I think it's because the way I consider anime is both the marriage of those kind of tropes and the art style.
Okay. Well, we were talking. You talked about Avatar: The Last Airbender, which brings up a couple other. So, Avatar: The Last Airbender is something a lot of people point to as a Western cartoon that's not anime, but is very heavily anime inspired.
Obviously, and of course you can see that in the art style and the cultures that are, emulated.
Kind of like I got a couple more. Like Boondocks was a big one. You can see that graphic.
Oh, Boondocks is amazing.
Yeah.
Also the fight choreography and Boondocks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those. It's hard to do fight scenes in animation and make it fluid
Believable.
and also like have weight behind the strikes.
Yeah.
But the Boondocks did that incredibly well. So I consider it some of the best animated fight scenes ever.
Also, if you haven't seen this before, Afro Samurai.
I don't have a graphic for that, but go on.
Also really good. It's kind of like in the style of Boondocks, except much more heavily, fight stuff.
Right.
It's really good. It's actually really, really good. It's praised for like the art style and how it, the story and everything. I would recommend that heavily.
Also, on the Netflix plans, there's Love, Death, and Robots has a lot of heavily animated, anime-inspired.
Oh, and the Boys special too.
Yeah.
That one had a couple of really good anime specials.
That's an anthology as well, right?
Yeah, but it all takes place in the same world.
Okay. So it's all canon to The Boys?
Technically, I think. I think it's more like one of those things where you get to see the world around it out more. It's less a focus on this is what happened, and more of in-depth look at how this world works and what these people are, rather than just seeing the show and waiting for the show to come out.
Right.
Seeing what Homelander was like his first mission.
Hmm.
Seeing what other superheroes are doing. What do more just like regular people do.
Yeah.
You know? But honestly, before we get into the anime that we really don't like and what we hate about anime...
Wait, I mean, it's not, I don't say we hate things about anime.
I hate things about anime.
Okay, alright, we are.
I gotta be honest. One thing I hate about anime, because I want to preface this, because one thing about anime that I don't like, it's changing
Right.
now, is how long it takes.
Mhm.
One Piece has always been told to me as being one of the best anime ever, but it's over 1,000 episodes.
It's been going on for like 30 years now,
and
right?
that's not including movies.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time and effort, and I get told repeatedly that it gets a lot better the halfway point. Like most shows, most shows, you get to the halfway point, starts getting really good. That's a lot of episodes to get through for it to get good.
All right, Matt Hubler said, no Demon Slayer spoilers, please. I can't give you any Demon Slayer spoilers because I have not started watching that one.
I have watched it. I will not spoil Demon Slayer. I will tell you about it, my feelings about it, though. So, no spoilers from here on out. This is the episode where we just talk about the styles and what we like and what we don't like about anime in general. But he brings up Demon Slayer. So I'm not a big fan of anime, obviously, because of the tropes and stuff. And then, just as for shits and giggles, for one summer, I decided to start watching Demon Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Really?
Everything about it is amazing. There is standard anime stuff, like some of the characters. You got the character that is always pining after girls and crying
the
all
Brock.
time. The Brock, But everything about it is interesting. It's not like this. The villain character is just annoying enough and just compelling enough where it's fine.
Right.
But characters, action, gore aside, it's a beautiful anime. The fight scenes are fantastic. The real sense you get from this is that all the bad guys aren't as bad as they're really bad. They're evil.
Right.
But you see where they come from. What happens to them. Why they're deserving of empathy even though they need to be put down. And that's where I think it really shines through, is that they give small character arcs to the bad guys as well.
Without having to make a tournament arc.
Yeah. There's no tournament arcs. I don't need a tournament arc. I've seen them fight 20 times. But yeah, that Demon Slayer, you gotta watch it. There's a demon that looks like Michael Jackson in it. It's worth it.
Let's see here. Matt Hubler said, the guy in the yellow kimono, Zenitsu, is so annoying I almost stopped.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. He does get better as the story progresses, but he's there for like the comic relief. They're in a very dark story arc, so you need something to lighten that up, and obviously that's him. But when he gets into like combat mode, I won't spoil it for you. I feel like it's a really good way to do it.
Okay.
Like, he just doesn't go berserk. He does it in a certain way, and his skills are very specific as well that make up for it. So it's not like he just like gets hit on the head and then becomes like the Hulk or something. It's very specific.
Right.
You might like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's.
So
an animation that got dropped recently is another episode of Hell of a Boss.
Oh.
And going off the anime thing a little bit. So one of the things I liked about that is when he first started watching that, things like Blitz, has a lot of he's obsessed with the two relationship, and he's and he's really permissive, all these things, these things that would be just random shit played off for laughs, but they kind of go in.
Guy.
Yeah, but they kind of go into it and there's actually a serious reason that these people are this way.
Yeah.
There's a tragic backstory that why they act like this. It's part of their character. It's not just some throwaway gag that they keep bringing up.
I think what I liked about Hell of a Boss is that it's adult animation done right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. The thing I didn't like about BoJack Horseman is that first of all, I didn't like the art style. It just didn't jive with me.
By the way, these are not anime because they are American.
Who said that?
Me.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. We know.
But I guess if you're gonna make it's compare and contrast.
It's
So continue.
all it all blends together because also I feel like animation and adult animation doesn't get the love it deserves, especially in the Academy. So let's talk about it. But all this the show basically devolves into basically BoJack Horseman just like being depressed at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But Hell of a Boss, I feel like the emotional arcs and like how funny it is and how good it is in the animation, but then also those really sad moments, like the episode where they go to the fifth circle of hell.
I think so. Which one was that?
That was the lost one.
Yeah.
And how that ended and how like sad it was. It's how you should do it, like how you should do adult animation.
And they give what's his name, Stolas. He's not just like some random background character there played for just to move the plot forward. He actually has like a depth. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think when we say adult animation, obviously Has Been Hotel. We've been hoping for that. My God, loving that.
I'm pretty sure it's been picked up and they're working on it, but they're releasing Hell of a Boss as like filler and not filler.
It's in the same universe.
Yeah.
I love it. But I think we've always been, for adult animation, it's like because this ties into anime, because anime I feel like is adult animation.
Yeah.
That we tend to think of Family Guy.
Yeah.
Which really should have been dragged out into the back of the barn and put down for good.
Yeah.
Honestly. And like Brickleberry.
Yeah. One thing I will say about Family Guy recently is that it's much more watchable. Like
Low bar to clear.
Low bar to clear, but it's a lot more like, okay, I can like watch this and not be like, ugh, gross.
Yeah. It's getting more watchable, but I feel like there's no real point.
Yeah. The only reason it exists is because Fox doesn't want to let it go.
Yeah.
But let's go back.
Yeah. What is an anime that you've watched recently, or not the one you watched recently, but what's an anime you like?
What's an anime I like? My favorite is One Punch Man, which I feel like people have a mixed relationship with. Like, I really like it. It's like my favorite anime, but no one else I've talked to is like, they like it, but they're like, nah, yeah.
I think it does the tropes good.
Yeah, but it plays off the tropes.
Yes, exactly. They canceled it.
They canceled it?
It's getting picked up for a third season.
Yeah, well, that's it got a lot of not backlash, but it's after the first season they swapped animation teams.
Yeah.
So there's a distinct difference in the animation between the first season and the second season. It's not as fluid and it's not as artistic.
Yeah, and again, even though the technology has like drastically ramped up over the years, it's still very hard to animate, especially action scenes, which is what One Punch Man is.
Right.
Basically, every single episode is a massive fight scene.
Right, and it's kind of a shame because I'm reading the manga, so I can actually get the story fleshed out. But reading the manga versus you can't tell what's going on half the time. Versus in the anime, I'm like, oh, you can actually see the fight scenes playing out, and you can actually see like why Saitama is so powerful.
I think when I started reading the anime after watching the show, and the thing I really didn't like about the manga is really good.
Yeah,
I do like the manga.
Yeah.
Okay. But when you see the drastic power level that Saitama's on versus everybody else in the show with like actual movements, way different experience.
Yeah.
Like when you see like when I'm reading about like Speed of Sound Sonic versus Saitama, it's kind of comical, but when you see it like and the action that they're doing, it's just like it's amazing to see like how much better he is.
Right.
And it's just kind of like a thing he's doing.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Animation is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not being derogatory or being reductive. It is extraordinarily difficult.
Yes, it is. And so that's the one I like. The other thing, so we had a few people. I put up in the story.
More than a few people.
Yeah.
That was a lot of people.
Yeah, I put up in the story. A few people said like, "What's their favorite anime?" Let's start with Drew because he was the first one across through the gate.
Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, Drew Barrymore. No, Drew Burt.
The Ginger Dragon.
Is that what we're calling him now?
That's what I'm calling him.
Okay,
I think that's. I think.
Did he sign up on it? Did he sign up for that one?
I think ginger is a derogatory word. So, or
you know what? Let's call him. Toss a coin to your DM, and because he's the world's greatest dungeon master, bar none. So sorry, John, if you're watching this, you know who you are. So his favorite, he said, was Castlevania. He asked, "Does this qualify as an anime?" which, depending on, according to your definition, it doesn't. But I think this one is like so close to anime style for me that I think it clears the bar.
I would say that the one thing that I think we kind of overlooked when we talked about Castlevania before the show is whether or not it qualifies as a manga, or sorry, an anime, is its source material comes from Japan.
Okay.
Which is technically true. Castlevania is a Konami game.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That makes sense. So does anime have to be specifically made in Japan? Does the person have to be in Japan while they're drawing out frames for it to be anime?
I'm saying no, because for one simple reason. I think fandoms tend to do this thing where we split hairs over really dumb stuff.
Well, that's why we're here. That's a show.
That's fair. If you think Castlevania is an anime, it's an anime. If you don't, you don't. We're all pretty much going to watch it at the end of the day anyway, so it's still adult animation at the end of the day.
Yeah. What else am I going to watch?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so one thing I will say, I haven't watched Castlevania. I've seen a few clips. One thing I will say is that the voice acting is buttery smooth. Like that's one thing about anime that's also like, you know, they ham up the voices and you get like, I'm Monkey D. Luffy, I'm gonna be king of the pie. Yeah, which exactly, which has become like a staple of anime. But so we'll address that in a second. But on Castlevania, one thing I've heard is the voice actors, like everything they say sounds so smooth and natural. Yeah. It's
That's what I did start watching it a little bit. It wasn't for me. It was not an anime or animation, I should say, for me. I didn't like it that much. It was just like, I understand why it's good and everything. One thing I will say for it, other than, because what you just said was the voice acting, perfect, they really do monologues really, really well. In anime, sometimes when you get a monologue from somebody, it's just...
When does this end?
When does this end? But, like, the first season when the demon's talking to the corrupt priest in the church, perfect.
Right?
It encapsulates the entire antithesis of the show perfectly.
Right. Matt Hubler says, I vote no, it's an animation. Which,
American?
Americanmation?
Amerimation?
I don't know.
Americation.
Americanmation.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, at what point do you say, like, anime tends to be considered the style, but where, like you said, does it mean that somebody has to be physically in Japan animating it? Because there are a lot of, like, good anime coming from Korea, too.
Right. And look at, Love, Death, and Robots. It's an animation group from different countries all over the place.
Yeah.
A lot of it's, some of it, not everything.
Most of it is CGI.
Yeah.
But, like, it's a good CGI. I would say...
Is CGI from Japan considered anime?
Matt Hoover, what I would say to that is, I don't think, as a fan base, we should be splitting hairs over what qualifies as anime and what is just, like, regular animation. If it falls under the umbrella of especially adult animation, we should all support it in that way.
Anime is just animated. It doesn't matter the country. So I think the point was he's saying, like, it's not anime, it's just animation, and it doesn't matter where it's from.
Right. But Castlevania stylistically has more in common with Cowboy Bebop than One Piece or Dragon Ball.
And that's the thing. So I think that, we're shitting on anime a lot, but there are ways and there are artists who take the tropes and the artistry and the capabilities of anime, and they really run with it, and they're able to make something really interesting. Like you say, Demon Slayer, that's an anime, but it's definitely something special.
What I do like about anime, and I really do like it, is that if you like a specific genre, there's an anime for you. You like schoolgirl drama, there's an anime. You like romance, there's an anime. You like anime about schoolgirls battling in Nazi-esque tanks for a school sport.
If you've got a niche,
that's an anime. I didn't make that up.
There's an anime of literally just a bunch of wholesome himbo weightlifters helping a nerdy guy survive school.
Oh yeah, and he's got like godlike powers too. And he's just like
Is that what it? Yeah, it's
Mob Psycho.
Is that it? No, it's like fitness, like the fitness club or something.
Yeah, no, but the anime I think is Mob Psycho.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But one of my favorite animes that I've watched recently, unfortunately, this also got canceled this season, is Fire Force.
Okay, wait a second while I bring up the... That's not
So-
it. There it is, Fire Force.
It's a little bit simplistic. There are things I find I don't like about it, but the sound design, fantastic.
Doesn't the intro slap harder than anything it has a right to?
It does. It turns my soul into a raging bonfire that can't be quenched.
Are those the lyrics?
No, I don't know what the lyrics are. It's Japanese.
It just does it just does that to me.
Oh, I've had you listen to it before.
I don't know where that came from.
But the sound design. You ever if you ever thought of what it would sound like if a guy did a soul-crushing palm print into somebody with the force and power of the sun?
Like in Kung Fu Hustle.
Yeah, the sound design is awesome. When they do the Adola burst and his feet catch on fire and he starts flying around, you just go, "Oh, that sounded great!"
Huh.
Yeah, it's kind of honestly.
I never thought about that for an anime, like thinking of the sound design.
Yeah, the sound design, like obviously, like there are like the punches and stuff, and like walking. There are like sounds that go along with animation and anime, but like when they get into like their powers and stuff, that's where you should get the anime, like the moment. It's the sound design, and that's where the Fire Force comes in.
Right.
You want to hear like the sky turn red.
Right.
That's it.
Let's see. What's another one that have you been like interested in or looking to watch?
For me, I have the mixed feelings about this one, but I'll put it in the good pile. Attack on Titan.
Okay. Yep. That one got me back into anime.
Yeah.
Basically. We're like late bloomers when it comes to anime. I got into this show when I was like 18, 19.
Yeah. So for everybody watching, if you're just like sitting back and thinking, why are they always so late on this stuff? We grew up in a household where we didn't have. Well, we were not in a household, but we grew up with no internet and no cable or anything. So we're always behind on trends. So when things come around, we just get to it when we feel like getting to it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and I feel very strongly that fandoms shouldn't gatekeep based on when you get into stuff because there's so much content out there.
Yeah.
If I go out and let's say I discovered or someone discovered the Marvel universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe tomorrow.
Like, I can't be like, why didn't you do that yesterday?
Yeah. It's like sometimes that's just it's like, oh, that over there. Yeah, that's when you found it, and a new fan's a new fan.
Yeah.
Be nice.
Did you know what? So this happened to me recently. I was overhearing a conversation about somebody about saying that they liked Jimi Hendrix, and this was a young guy.
Yeah.
And this older guy said, "Well, you just like him because you heard him. I saw him at Woodstock or something." I was like, he wasn't born yet. He never had the chance to see that.
Right.
Shouldn't you be happy that somebody is enjoying something you enjoy?
Yeah.
And that's what I think this podcast should be about. It's not that as soon as something comes out, we hop onto it. We get to it.
We're network, and then you find people who like it. Yeah, there's a connection. You're networking. You're making friends. This isn't the model train fandom. We're not gonna bite your head off.
This isn't the F4U page. We're not getting hashtags on this. We're just watching stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I watched the first 2 episodes of Moon Knight finally yesterday.
Yeah.
It was okay. That was really good. Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, not nearly as much as he was in Dune, but
no, but he was like he's a better actor in this.
Yeah.
But Attack on Titan, back to Attack on Titan. The thing is, I think it's good, but at a certain point, I think during the female Titan arc, where they were chasing Annie and everything, I kind of just got like, I'm kind of getting tired of seeing people getting splattered all over the place.
I think it's definitely much more difficult if you watch it back to back.
Yeah, it's definitely. That's kind of the way I did it, because I have the bad tendency of binging things.
Yeah.
You know? Not all at once, but doing like 2 episodes, and then the next night doing 2 episodes or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, during that arc, I was just like, I don't want to see more people getting splattered by Titans and stuff. It's just not me.
Right.
But then in the 4th season, when the actual war started, then I got more interested. The thing with Attack on Titan is every season and every episode you get like a closer clue to what the truth is. It just it
creates
blew my
more
mind.
question.
I had where I thought this was going. No way.
Yeah.
Also, did you know their world map is just our map flipped upside down?
Really?
Yeah, they're on Madagascar.
Huh.
That's where they are. Equivalent, like, they're on Madagascar.
Okay.
That's where they are.
Okay.
Like, just like, their world is just technically upside down, so they have a more temperate climate than where Madagascar would be.
So that's why there's no lemurs or fusa.
The Fusa.
The fusa.
Yeah. So that's, but I guess that's where Europe would be.
Ish. Kinda.
I guess like culturally, I guess it's just the same.
Same like they like have the same hemispheres culturally. They just
Yeah.
kind of flip the map over.
But I think like people from Japan are still like culturally and ethnically similar.
Yeah, because they in the episode they specifically say Mikasa's mom is Japanese.
Yeah. So I guess they're like German European, but
I like to think maybe it's a multiverse thing where it's like a slight someone stepped on a butterfly and that caused that. Like
yeah.
that. Like it's not. I think it's not even like imagine. Oh, what if like we developed like we have the North Pole and the South Pole. What if like we developed like okay the South Pole for us is actually up on the map for us.
It's up.
So
you just run into like your lab. It's up. Guys, what if the North Pole is just up?
Or like the guy making a map was like, I'm done, and then his boss was like, what if we...
Oh. One thing I do like about Attack on Titan, it's very interesting, is like a lot of anime when they have magic,
Yeah.
there's a lot of magic systems. Like there's not just like one creature, there's
Yeah.
not just like one wizard. But with Attack on Titan, pretty much other than like the Titans
Mhm.
and like the founding Titans and those like that,
Mhm.
that's it.
Yeah.
There's no other magic.
Yeah, it's
Like-
yeah.
That's pretty much it. Like we think like yeah, like this world is covered in like Titans, but take those out, it's just upside down Earth.
Right, exactly. And one thing I get from the magic system about the Titans is I'm getting the idea it's like, okay, no one knows exactly how this works or why it works. It's just kind of like, they cut themselves and they turn into the Titans. No one knows why that happens, but there's just like, they tried a bunch of things and like, oh, this is what works, so we're just going to keep doing that.
Another thing I really do like, this might be a little bit of a spoiler, but in the fourth season, it really ties in that, yeah, like, the world is kind of held together by in the fear of the Titans,
Mm-hmm.
but technology is rapidly catching up. Like, a Titan is awesome, but what is that against a howitzer?
Yeah, and
Or, like, a team of, like, Zeppelins?
Spoiler alert, in their world, they have reached World War One level.
I'd say World War II, because, or, like, pre-World War II, like, maybe, like,
I'd say
well, they don't
I'd
really
say
have cars, do they?
I'd say probably like
World War One.
well yeah
Pre-World War One.
Yeah, at the latest.
At the latest. Like, they have, like, Zeppelins and stuff, but they're very rudimentary
Yeah,
Zeppelins.
but like us history buffs are like, things are about to take off. Like you think that Titans are gonna be able to withstand a plane, which is funny because I saw this graphic. Like you remember the Evergrande that got stuck in the Suez Canal.
Yes.
So like these modern ships are massive, and someone like did a CG of like here's the colossal Titan sitting on this ship, and it's like tiny. It's
Yeah.
like okay compared to the modern world, like yeah those Titans are not shit at all.
Yeah, like, I think that's also what we can also infringe, because sometimes people will say, like the Korra, they don't really like because of how quickly technology took off. But you'd be surprised at how quickly technology ramps up, because they're the Fire Nation at the end, even like not even at the end, but during Last Airbender, the Fire Nation was in the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
And they had benders. I mean, they have skyscrapers, but people were saying like they couldn't put up skyscrapers that quickly. You have people that can move rocks with their mind. Do you know
metal.
And metal. Do you know how quickly you could build a city in that time?
And they have like power generators of people just shooting lightning at it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
So like that's what I liked about Attack on Titan. That like there's a magic system, but it is getting way outpaced by technology. A Titan was really cool when everybody had spears and knives, but like when they got howitzers and like aerial bombardment, what's the point?
Right. I'd like to talk. Let's talk a little bit about Tanner, another guy who
Tanbone?
Yep, he asked about when I asked what's your favorite anime, he answered Hunter x Hunter. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
I don't know a ton about it. So
That's on my shit list, actually.
okay, sorry Tanner.
Sorry, Tanbone.
I do remember you were watching this. I walked by, I watched about 10 minutes of it, and I was like, is it an exam arc? Is it a tournament arc? Are they hunting monsters?
I have no idea.
The answer was yes.
It's a yes to all of it.
It's always an exam too.
Yeah. So like, again, like so when we talk about a lot of the Shonen Jump animes and the big Shonen animes, they're geared towards young adults, young
Right.
men. So when we say it's always like a tournament arc or an exam arc, well, that's what young males like. They like showing off to their friends, fighting one-on-one.
But tournament arcs are good for something like anime or manga, where they have a lot of side characters and they get to like each side character can get to have their time in the spotlight.
But sometimes it just gets tiring. Like how many tournament arcs can we have? I mean, come on.
Let's see here: Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh,
Pokemon,
Beyblade,
Beyblade, Bakugan.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. These are just,
on.
and this is just the mainstream stuff.
You mean like just basically the toy anime?
Right. But that was the thing. Like I know that Naruto. Like one big thing is like the ninja exam, and they just are. You're just making them fight each other. It's not an exam.
Until they had to do like an actual exam where they were like doing paperwork.
Really?
Yeah. There's like a whole thing about.
Oh God.
Yeah. So I was watching Hunter x Hunter, and I did. When I talk about the animes that I don't like, and a lot of times when I talk about things I don't like, I understand why people like them. Like I'm not saying you should hate them or you don't, or like oh, Hunter x Hunter's a garbage show. I'm like, it's just not for me. But it's a lot of anime tropes, and there's just like another point where the Spider Crew just start killing a bunch of dudes, and I'm just like, okay.
So did you get to? Were you watching? There's an original Hunter x Hunter, and then apparently they did kind of I don't know if it's a reboot or a rehash, but it came out in 2011. Do you know which one you were watching?
I don't. I was watching the one on Netflix. So
Okay,
if you're an anime fan or a Hunter x Hunter fan,
Because I'm pretty. I was like reading up on this a little bit. I haven't watched Hunter x Hunter, but the reviews for the 2011 reboot are stellar, and they say it's a great anime.
Yeah.
So maybe we should delve into that. I know that there's a villain in there that looks kind of like a clown or a Harley Quinn. Hisoka. He's supposed to be one of the best anime characters ever.
Yeah, I thought he was interesting. There's a little bit. It's a little weird. I didn't like it that much.
We're trying not to spoil it for people.
I'm
right?
not spoiling it for anybody. If you watch it, you'll get exactly what I mean by the time they're in like the Champion City or whatever it is.
Is he an edgelord? Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it.
It's okay. Fine.
I'm not gonna say it. But yeah, there was a lot of like points where I was just like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm watching an anime, and I like it when anime is telling its own story. And it's not like I'm being tricked into watching an anime. When I watch an anime, I just want to be able to watch the characters and progress, like in watching a normal show.
Right.
And for Hunter x Hunter, it's painfully obvious that it's an anime, if that makes sense. To anybody.
I mean, you can see like the short protagonist with the spiky hair. Yeah. Well, let's put you out of your misery. So Matt Hubler wants us to talk about Full Metal Alchemist, which I think Drew was the one who said that this was something he was watching. It may have been Matt.
Yeah.
But Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood specifically. So Brotherhood, as I understand, is some animes will do this where they'll have their original run, which has a lot of fillers or a lot of extra stuff from the shonen, and then they'll release something like Brotherhood, or for Hellsing, it's Hellsing Ultimate, where they sort of truncate it, streamline it, make it a better story, make it more watchable. One thing I will say I like about Full Metal Alchemist, I think it's the best example of a hard magic system.
Yes.
So for those of you who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I didn't know about this until a short time ago too. So a soft magic system would be a magic system in fantasy where the parameters are kind of loosely defined. Think Lord of the Rings. Yeah, like magic stuff happens, but you don't really know why. Or even Harry Potter.
Harry Potter to some extent.
Yeah.
There are the boundaries are very vague.
But another one would be Star Wars with the Force.
Right.
So basically, my rule for a soft magic system is the only thing that you know it's capable of is what you've seen already. So until it happens on camera, we don't know what it is or what the parameters are.
Yeah.
Full Metal Alchemist has a magic system that it has very specific parameters. A lot of the plot revolves around it. So like, I don't know how to describe it exactly, but basically,
it's that nobody can just do anything they want.
Right.
So it has a very specific set of rules. You have to do very specific things in order for things to happen. What I like about Full Metal Alchemist is it's very hard.
Yeah.
System and magic. Like at one point, they have a broken radio.
Right.
But they have all the components for a radio, so they can fix it with the magic. Like it'll just make it work. Like you can't just like draw the circle, and then because you do have to have a circle, like an alchemist circle. So it's not just like drawing a circle. You have to have like all of the knowledge to do it, and you can't just like put it on the floor that's empty and be like, I want a radio.
Right.
You have to have all the components there, and then, but also when people do things incorrectly, like we see with like the main characters, it goes wrong, but it makes sense in a way. Like it just doesn't go wrong, and people are just fine with it.
Right.
Like people lose arms, they lose their bodies, they lose a lot of stuff. I'm not spoiling it for anybody.
It's on the poster.
It's on the poster.
You can see it right there. So yeah, that's a lot. So when I'm trying to explain hard versus soft magic system, I really like that Full Metal Alchemist went full bore with it. So there are
full send,
and it plays out really well because, like I said, it's part of the plot. It's not shoehorned in there, and it's part of the adventure and the story they have to go through.
Yeah, because like as we say, it's a hard system. Like there's no real easy way out. The whole crux of the system of this story is actually the villain wants to take the easy way out, and the point is that the main characters are given the ability to take easy ways out, and they say no because it's the wrong way to do it.
Right. I also know that in Full Metal Alchemist there's the 7 Deadly Sins, which got me confused because there's also an anime called Seven Deadly Sins.
I also started watching that. I did not like that one either.
Okay.
That's also an anime that's anime. But.
Yeah, stick with the Full Metal Alchemist if you need 7 Deadly Sins in your anime.
But one I do like, and this is an anime that is very, very anime. Like, it's painfully anime. Everybody's seen it. My Hero Academia. I like it.
Really?
It's one of those anime that you can just sit down and have fun with it, you know?
Yeah, so it sounds like a little bit, it's like One Punch Man in that there's a hero association type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's like less villains. Like villains are like kind of like lower on the list. Like the whole hero thing is more akin to like a job you do.
Right.
Like you go do like it's kind of like a mixture of like the boys from the heroes from the boys and like Marvel-esque movies heroes. Okay. So like they're not like sociopaths killing everybody, but like they're in it for the money and the fame, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so a little bit. So it is in that case. It is a little bit more like One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've heard some mixed reviews about this. You know, they seem to have some trouble coming up with good female characters or treating their female characters.
That's an anime trope in itself.
Yeah.
But the 3 main characters basically are males.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's one of your issues right there.
Yeah.
And of course, like in like the core group that you follow, which is like 15 kids, 6 of them are females.
Yeah.
One of them is her power is that she's just invisible, and she's naked.
So like
the entire show, and nobody brings it up, and it's just it's really weird.
So that's what I'm talking about. That's the backlash I hear a lot about My Hero Academia. Is they kind of put that stuff in and they just don't address the fact that it is not super kosher.
Yeah, again, it's the market that they're going towards. It's for young adult males. Like, everyone, like, keeps bringing this up that, like, you know, there's not a lot of good female characters in a lot of these anime. Well, that's not who they're marketing towards. They're marketing towards the male side of the audience.
I would beg to disagree because Shonen gave us Sailor Moon, and I tell you what, that's some strong female characters.
Yes, but that is more of the exception rather than the rule.
That's why. But I'd like to say we're not saying that it's good or that it's like
having diverse casts and having interesting stories that don't revolve around male characters or even straight characters is wrong. It's just that that's what this genre is. And I said,
has it seemed. We haven't really delved into like the politics of anime yet or the industry. Have you like this kind of stuff? Have you seen like maybe the anime industry is a little bit more lagging behind? Like let's say Hollywood, that kind of like Hollywood. They tend to make more of an effort nowadays to include diversity and female characters and stories.
Well,
in their own way.
Let's be fair.
Okay.
first of all, Hollywood, even though they're making strides towards more diversity and stuff, is technically a fairly diverse place, whereas Japan is not very diverse ethnically. It's very, especially in their industry, it tends to be mainly people from Japan doing anime.
Right.
So it's not like, it's a huge diverse crowd of people from all kinds of backgrounds doing this. When you see animes kind of like, what's a really good one? Because a lot of animes are really interesting. It's really weird. Obviously, like, we're not experts, first and foremost. I want to tell everybody.
Yeah, a couple of straight white guys are not exactly
we're not the
authorities on this.
Let's get the opinion of diversity from two cis white male. It's from the middle class.
When will our voices be heard on our podcast that we're broadcasting to the internet?
When will our day be in the sun?
But not really, because we burn really quickly.
Yes. A lot of animes are really interesting because let's be honest, because when I was watching a lot of animes, I was going through quite a bit, it was about a 50-50 split, where most of the main characters were clearly European or white, but they were animated. Like, Eren Yeager is clearly a white kid from Europe, but obviously, it's animated in Japan, and it's for mainly Japanese audience. It's kind of odd. So then, like, when we talk about diversity, it's kind of interesting.
So, like, for an animation that's created in Japan, where the majority of people and majority of viewers are Japanese, that is considered
Japanese males.
It's not, but it wouldn't be considered diversity here in America, where
Like when we look at Avatar: The Last Airbender, that's a very diverse look. That's at least even in the core group is very diverse, 50-50, and they get their own story arcs and everything. But when we look at like other anime, kind of not. Obviously, there are exceptions to the rules, and there are good exceptions to the rules too. And there are also even like fully just straight male cast members, like for anime, that are better than others that are like diverse. It does, there's cuts both ways. But when we look at like diversity in anime, we have to look at who's making it and who it's for. And yeah, it's going forward little by little. One of the worst examples of this is Dead High.
Never saw that.
It's about the zombie apocalypse and school kids, school girls, and the over-sexualization of these young girls is outrageous.
Yeah.
And you just have to think, like, who's this for?
Right.
And who made this? And I think that's kind of what the anime industry is. It's getting better. It's getting better, but yes, I think it does lag behind because of where it's coming from in the industry in general.
Okay, the environment in which the industry has grown up. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Obviously, Sailor Moon, awesome show.
Honestly,
I started watching it as a joke. Not a good reason to start watching good stuff, by the way.
That's like I'm ironically watching Sailor Moon because I know it's going to be bad, but
it's good.
It's good. Yeah.
It's entertaining. One anime I want to talk about.
Okay.
Real quick. Okay. I didn't give you the information for this one, but Ghost Stories.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us the story.
First and foremost, it's on Amazon, so you can watch it, the whole series. It's only like one season. I think it's about 26 episodes. First and foremost, it does use some dated language. It uses the R word a little bit too much.
It was like in the 2000s.
Early 2000s. So if you don't appreciate that,
it's not even they don't appreciate it. If that's not for you, we're just letting you know.
Yeah, don't watch it. But essentially, what happened was this was during the time like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, all these animes were coming out. So one of these smaller animation studios decided to come out with Ghost Stories. It's about these school-age kids fighting ghosts, basically like a school kid version of Ghostbusters.
Right.
But they're oriented towards specifically Japanese ghosts, like Onis and very specific Japanese ghosts. Very cool. But they knew they didn't really have a winner on their hands because they were going up against, stuff.
Like the megastar of Pokemon.
And they and it didn't really do really well in Japan either.
Yeah.
So when it came time for it to be shipped overseas and the dubbing process, they basically gave up and told the American studio that would be dubbing it to do whatever they wanted. Just go hog wild. We don't care.
Right, because they're like, it's not testing well in Japan. We're not going to make any money on this. It's a wash.
Yeah. So the voice actors just wrote their own lines, and it's basically a comedy.
Yeah.
It's really good in the way where you're just like, this was not. It's kind of like if Airplane was an anime.
Right. Isn't there one? So like you can tell like from the situations this is not what they'd be saying like, oh, there's a ghost over there, but the kid's like, oh, is that a ghost over there? And the one girl's like, oh God, shut up!
Shut up.
Yeah, like things like I don't want to like Jarrett said, some of these things are definitely offensive
and definitely dated.
Yeah.
But one of the girls, they just made her like a hardcore Christian, and it's outrageous. It's like, wow, I'm really scared. Have you accepted the Lord Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior into your heart? What? Yeah. For something like that has just gone absolutely crazy and a really weird curveball in the animation industry, I would give it a watch.
Okay, so all right, so we didn't get a chance to talk about everything, so we're going to be talking about a lot more anime. I'd like to turn this last section of the show into our just like what's on our minds. What's so one thing I want to
Wait, are we going to talk about the animes we just watched specifically for the show?
No, let's talk about this is news from the Nerdosphere.
Oh, Nerdosphere.
Okay, so well, first of all, it's not news from the Nerdosphere yet. It is Jimmy's Dojo. If you're listening to this
strong on this.
If you're listening to this on Spotify, you will hear that the little sting I'm going to put in there.
We should have like a keyboard for.
Yeah, a sound machine. Yeah. For sure. So this fight is from the 2007 anime Sword of the Stranger.
Okay.
Now, Sword of the Stranger is a samurai film. It's there's lots of lots of sword fights in it. It's somewhat fantastic. There's a lot of flips. There's like a lot of really creative, almost fantastic choreography.
Mm-hmm.
But I put the GIF up there. You can see it. I'd have to say this is probably one of my favorite fight scenes from the anime. Now this is the final fight scene where the Ronin character is fighting the blonde guy there, who's like he's kind of a mercenary, and like he's only in it. He like the whole movie. He's only really in this because he wants a good person to fight. He's all. It's a little bit of a trope, but I think it works in this movie. And this is their final fight scene. And like I said, it's not like super historical or super accurate, katana fighting, but this is one of those animes where you can tell they looked at how people's bodies move. They put weight behind the strikes, and like you say, the sound editing is amazing. You get amazing shots. Like there's this one where he blocks the sword, and then the sword's sliding up, his opponent's sword, and you're getting like that, close-up view.
Ooh.
And the movements look smooth. The animation is fluid. You feel like they're actually in a fight scene. Everything just flows so well together. So I'd give this a 9 out of 10 katanas.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10 katanas. The only reason I've taken a point off is because there is kind of like, there's a little kid character in this movie that, is like the Ronin.
Kenny.
Yeah, the Ronin is trying to save, and, he's kind of, there's a few interspersed shots where he's like, I
hate that.
Yeah. And it's
it
not...
brings up the action, technically, but...
Yeah, it's not that it was, like, poorly placed, even. It's just that, like, it's such an anime trope, I couldn't
That's fair.
stomach it. Anyway, so that's Jimmy's Dojo for this particular evening. Any news from the Nerdosphere you want to talk about?
I do.
What's that?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
You prepared?
Yeah.
House of the Dragon. Coming out August 27th.
House of the... Enter the Dragon.
Oh, I never made that connection. I feel like an idiot.
Bruce Lee would be ashamed.
Well, hang on. Would the Valerians be firebenders? Because I don't think they would be.
What would they be?
I don't think they would be bending at all. The fact that they could tame dragons at all and firebenders would just be like, would worship that, would be enough.
That's fair.
Like they are
like the Earth Queen. They rule over the greatest kingdom, but they are not benders themselves.
Exactly. Like I think that would be it. Like the Dothraki, I feel like would be kind of like sandbenders ish.
Yeah. I think they would be airbenders, but like Zahir, evil airbenders.
I feel like
because they are all about moving around and being free.
I think that's a really good point. And I also make a really good dichotomy between like actual airbenders are like monks and stuff, and they come across like Dothraki.
Right.
Like the contrast is there. like the airbenders are not a monolith.
Right. We are not a monolith.
We're not a monolith. I do think, however, the Riverlands would be waterbenders.
Duh.
Yeah, but the Freys would be earthbenders.
Aha.
And then to the north of them, the Reeds, waterbenders.
The swamp waterbenders.
Swamp waterbenders.
Yeah.
But only cooler.
Yeah. I could see that. So what about House of the Dragons got you so riled up?
So first of all, we saw a couple more clips, and thirdly, we saw some dragons.
Dragons.
What I like most about these dragons is one of the cool. I see it as kind of an issue, but I like it a little bit. Is that Drogon and Viserion and Rhaegal are kind of like copies of each other, which I kind of like because like magically they were supposed to be dead, so I feel like they're kind of just like magical clones.
Yeah, the three heads of King Ghidorah and Godzilla had more personality between the three of them, though.
Which I think they should have been the only monster in the movie.
Yeah,
only monster in the movie, and make him more distinct. But anyway, Larry, Curly, and Moe, as they call them. But there's a clear, distinct difference between this dragon and the dragons in the show, and obviously Drogon, which was the face at the certain point of Game of Thrones.
Right.
So like, they're not just one dragon type.
Right.
Like, not the colors aren't the only thing that's different about it. That's what I'm really interested in.
Yeah, I think I read that they were really leaning into they want to have a bunch of different dragons. They want them all to have different personalities.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing in the novels. They're like dragons are intelligent. In fact, they're near human intelligence.
Yeah. George R. R. Martin actually was on the set and writing of the show. Like he sat in on it, and he watched the whole season apparently.
Wow. And did he sign off on that?
He gave his seal of approval.
That's great,
He said it was
George.
good.
Now, where the fuck are the winds of winter?
He wrote a couple chapters.
A couple chapters?
He wrote a couple chapters.
That's it?
It took did you know it's been from what is it? It's Feast of Crows, and then what's the last book that came out?
Was it? It wasn't Clash. No, it was Dance of Dragons.
Yeah, Dance of Dragons. Between Dance of Dragons and now, 11 years. It's going on 12 soon.
Yeah. Julia says, "What's up, my dudes? We're talking about House of the Dragon. That's
where have you
what's
been? Where have you been? And that's the only thing you have to comment.
We gave you a mention earlier.
Yeah.
Anyway, so House of the Dragon
is apparently going to be really good. One thing I think we should be careful of. First of all, I've seen all the promos. I'm going to love it no matter what.
Are ya?
Honestly, I think I'm going to like it no matter what.
Okay.
It's going to be Game of Thrones. It's everything I like. It's going to be houses that I haven't seen before. One thing that side note, tangent, they should focus, instead of focusing on the main houses, like Stark, Baratheon, Lannister, everything, they should really get into the
nitty gritty
of the smaller houses. Like Valerian, White Harbor, Frey, all those houses, you know?
Flush them out. Was it you that mentioned the Frey guy?
Forster Frey.
Yeah, he's like a powerful gallant knight, and you want to see how his house maybe turns towards being snitchy bastards.
Basically, like he's supposed to be like this really gallant, awesome dude, but people still shit on him in his house because they're the Freys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Julia said, "What did you say about me?" We said you didn't know what anime was, and we explained the whole thing, so you're gonna have to go back and watch like the first.
Yeah, you're gonna have to watch the whole episode over again, Julia.
Don't worry if there's no sound. We fixed that like 5 minutes in.
Yeah, 5 minutes. It took us 5 minutes to realize it. But I'm really excited for this. The thing I am concerned about is what we see with a lot of streaming shows. It's expensive. There's not a lot of turnover.
If they can do what they did with Game of Thrones, market and merchandise the shit out of it, they will see the return on investment. I don't think people talk about that enough, how much ungodly money they made from just merchandising with that show.
Yeah, they like saw Team Jacob and Team Edward and they made it better.
I've got like 6 different objects of Game of Thrones origin just in this room somewhere.
I have 3 different Game of Thrones flags in my apartment.
What? Pick a team, Jarrett.
No, I picked Bolton and nobody liked it.
Because they're messed up.
Everyone's messed up.
Okay, so also one thing coming out within a month of Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon is going to be Rings of Power. So I think
I'm also looking forward to
I think a lot of people are going to be like, who's going to battle for supremacy? So September is going to be we're gonna that whole month we're talking about Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones.
They did release a picture of what Sauron looks like. Okay, first of all, no offense to the actor. Okay, no offense to him whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But Sauron is supposed to be this elegant, beautiful creature. I think this might be one of his forms.
Yeah, he's got multiple
forms. But when don't do what they did with Rhaegar. Get somebody like a freaking model.
Right.
Get Henry Cavill. Slap a wig on that dude.
I think that I think what they're probably going for, possibly. This is just my headcanon, come up what I know from the lore. So I know that in this point Sauron has been like defeated once already, at least with like more. So he's like in hiding, and this is like where he's starting to come forward. So maybe he hasn't quite gotten to the point where he's seducing these people and like driving them to to destruction. I think maybe this is like he's in hiding. Like he's supposed to look kinda, no offense to this actor, kinda pathetic and kind of like unrecognizable.
Yeah. No. Okay. First of all, if the actor can pull this off, he's a good actor.
Right.
No offense to his looks.
I mean, it's the I don't know if it's the look and the angle, but like it looks
not flattering.
It looks like he's about to flip his mom off for taking away his Xbox. Like that's the vibe I'm getting.
Well, maybe their vibe they're getting like certain angles, like he's like taking off the mask. Like that's what he looks like. Like it's the same actor and he's shot.
Right.
But then he's like very charismatic and like can do that.
Right.
Kind of like Michael Scott.
Right.
Like if you
Sauron's going to get a character in this show.
Yeah.
He's not just going to be an angry lighthouse.
That's another thing. The thing I'm most looking forward to is orc tribes. I like the orcs in Lord of the Rings and even The Hobbit, but the thing I liked about The Hobbit more is I got to see what different orcs look like.
Right.
How they dress.
Right.
How they act.
The like Lord of the Rings kind of did it, but you really had to look. Like the Moria orcs definitely look different than the Mordor versus the Isengard orcs, etc. But like you could definitely tell the Gundabad orcs were different than the Mordor orcs, etc.
So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Okay.
But the next thing I'm looking forward to, it just came out. I think I'm probably gonna watch it tonight.
Okay.
Prey.
That looks unreasonably good.
So first of all, I heard it was almost all of the actors for the indigenous tribe are actual indigenous actors. Awesome.
Yeah.
First of all, and secondly, the concept alone, amazing.
Right.
It's perfect. This is one of those movies where I'm like, even if it's garbage, I'm gonna like it.
Like in Predator 2, at the end of Predator 2, Danny Glover survives, and he kills a super spoiler. He kills a predator.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a great movie. Don't watch it. He kills a predator, and then the other predators show up. They take their buddy's body away, and just before the main predator leaves, he tosses Danny Glover an antique pistol, from the 1700s. So I don't know if we'll see how he got that pistol. That's what I'm saying. But you get to see where these predators, their culture, maybe even these specific predators are hundreds, if not thousands, of years old.
Yeah. So first of all, the Predator, that movie, the newest one, I don't want any tie-ins to that. I want this movie not even tie into any of the other movies. I just want it to focus on being its own thing.
Yeah.
And be a Predator movie.
Right.
If they just focus on doing that, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Predator that with Arnold Schwarzenegger was good because
the characters were good too.
The characters were good. The monster was good. It was like Jaws. You didn't see it. It was a lot of lead up.
Yeah.
A big reveal at the end when you finally get to see the Predator with its mask off.
Predator 2, I think it's kind of like Jurassic World. A really good concept, but the fact that they go bigger, kind of choke on it.
Right.
And then Alien vs Predator series, skip that. Predators.
That movie's way better than people give it credit for.
Yeah, it's a schlocky movie, but it's Adrian Brody.
He got jacked for that movie too.
He got jacked. And honestly, the idea that they go in and capture people and put them on a game reserve, awesome idea.
Julia said, "Do you talk about Stranger Things yet?"
Is that an anime, Julia?
That wasn't on the docket.
Yeah. What? It's anime August. Why would we talk about Stranger Things?
Tell you what, just for you, we're gonna brush up on our Stranger Things trivia, and we're gonna talk about it next week. So
I watched all 4 seasons.
Good.
I mean, first of all, I thought this last season was the last season.
Yeah.
But there's another season. There's season 5.
Oh, okay, cool.
Guess what?
I didn't see it yet, so
No.
don't spoil it.
Season 5 is coming out in 2 years.
They're not even going to be in the 80s anymore. You thought it was anime?
Julian, wait. We're good.
She's messing with us.
Ignore her. Jimmy, ignore her. Anyway, the thing about Prey that I like the most is that it gets right down to the basics.
Mhm.
A, historical. Love it.
Mhm.
B, about the colonial times. Love it. Indigenous tribes. Love it.
Yeah.
Representation. I love it. But it's like, oh, they're not going to find like a magic bullet or they're going to have like space age technology. They're basically got the point of the movie's going to be getting the Predator down to their level.
Right.
You know?
And anything to do with like frontier stuff, like Last of the Mohicans, Frontier with Jason Momoa, like sign me up. I don't know what it is about that genre, but
I have no idea what it's about. I've been thinking about the Last of the Mohicans a lot lately, and I'm just like, what a good movie.
Right?
Honestly. I watched Turn recently, that show.
Yeah.
Awesome. But Frontier stuff is, honestly, for science fiction and horror, a missed opportunity.
The Ravenous.
Ravenous.
Yeah.
That's technically not, that's Frontier.
Yeah, it's on the frontier.
Ravenous, really good.
Yeah, all right, so,
The Witch is also good, but it's a different kind of good.
yeah, different kind of frontier. Prey, like, so this takes place...
Are you praying that it's good?
Not the same one.
I know.
It's not the same word, Jared.
Dyslexic.
Semantics. All right, so I'm excited to see it. I have read a lot. Like I know that this is about the Comanche tribe. I've read a lot of books about the Comanche tribe. I'm interested because in the trailer I didn't see any horses. Which one big thing I learned, like the main thing I learned from this book about the Comanche tribe is they were like the best horsemen in history.
Right, but this takes place in like the 1700s. So like,
I mean, like
17th century. So 1600 to.
I think it's supposed to be like 1790.
Nope.
I looked it up. It was like I think it was like right before.
Yeah, so
takes off.
Horses that were invasive species, and that didn't really make it to the Comanche tribe until like.
Will someone please hop in the
Somebody-
comments and just rage correct us, please? Because God, I
gotta be like, we're idiots. So if you guys can correct us, all power to you.
like just be cool to other people, but say whatever you want about us.
Yeah, like
Okay.
there's a lot to make fun of.
All right, so we're running over on time. There are a couple other things I want to talk about.
Okay.
So for last news item, you may have heard Batgirl the movie got shelved.
Yeah.
So this is kind of weird. A couple of things. So this kind of coincides with Warner Brothers, releasing their new company trajectory, basically.
Yeah.
So they were basically like they merged / acquired Discover, and they're like, okay, HBO Max is going to be guy stuff. Discovery is going to be girl stuff.
Why does that need to be separated?
I don't know. It's so basically they're like HBO is going to be male, more towards guys, lean in content, like things like Game of Thrones, like dudes are going to watch it and lean into it. Versus Discovery is going to be more like reality TV show type stuff in Shark Week. That
Yeah, because there's nothing because no women ever watched Game of Thrones, and nothing screams girl stuff like Shark Week.
Right. I don't know what their I don't know what their deal is, but basically as part of this they're also revamping DC. I think they're gonna do a good old retry at having themselves a Marvel universe.
Yeah. So what I heard was that they really canceled Batgirl because they were going more for the cinematic side. So Batgirl was a movie, but it was going to be one of those movies that's released on a streaming service.
It was a
streaming service.
It was like same day release though.
Yeah. So they're really because COVID is technically over, but it's not over to get vaccinated.
Right.
Hashtag get vaccinated. But they're going for theater releases.
Right.
And apparently Batgirl didn't play well on theaters, I guess. Like it just wasn't formatted for that, and it wouldn't have made it. But
so that's one thing. But then Vanity Fair reported that they were also going to take a tax / insurance break from shelving the thing. So that means that legally this movie cannot be released ever. It's not that like, oh, we're just not going to release it and then release it on DVD later. Like,
So basically,
this will never see the light of day.
we're paying for them not to give us what we want, that they already made, basically.
Exactly. I don't even know if I was going to like this movie, but now I want it
Out of
because they're saying...
spite,
because
I'm
there's-
liking it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, but let's just be honestly fair. The girl who plays Batgirl definitely gave it her all. Batgirl or Batwoman?
It was Leslie Grace.
Leslie Grace.
Yeah.
Great actress, by the way. She gave it her all. Everybody that worked on this show, or not the show, the movie, definitely tried their best and did their best.
Brendan Fraser was in it.
Brendan. No, I got it.
We were fucking robbed, man.
Maybe we can do like a release the Snyder Cut thing.
Right. So yeah, but Leslie Grace, she like tweeted out basically like, this was a great experience. Thank you everybody involved. I'm my own damn hero. So like, fucking
Good for her.
yeah, like, imagine that. Imagine being like, I can't like, I'm playing a superhero in a movie would be like my heart would stop. That's how excited I would be.
Yeah.
But imagine you get your break, you get to be a superhero. The movie is done. $70 million later.
70 mil.
Yeah, $70 million later, and then the company's just like, for money reasons and because we don't like the way things look, we're just never going to show this to anybody.
Let's be honest. Okay, so 70 million is not just a movie. That's a franchise. Like
Yeah.
that's like that's a Marvel movie.
And like, yeah, it was the whole thing was they filmed it in Glasgow, and the whole thing was kind of like in conjunction with the city bringing tons of work and like money and like subsidies for Glasgow. I don't know about subsidies, but definitely work in
So, Glasgow, Ireland.
Glasgow, Scotland. Yeah.
Scotland. So we had that old world vibe. So basically everything that Gotham really needed to shine and be great. You have a great cast. You have fucking Brendan Fraser.
Leslie Grace is Batgirl. We had Brendan Fraser, Michael Keaton,
Michael Keaton?
J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, there's absolutely no reason. Like, this is atrocious.
Yeah, so whatever their reasoning, it just doesn't seem to... and it seems extra fishy to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to Leslie. This is not okay. You would have been a great Batwoman. It's Batwoman, right?
The movie was Batgirl.
Batgirl.
Yeah, Batwoman is a different character, and it's Barbara Gordon.
Okay, yeah. Well, Jesus. Now I'm mad.
Okay.
But anyway, they should release it. Bite the bullet.
Okay, so last thing that I'd like to just talk about shit and shoehorn things into the show.
Obviously.
So we're coming up on summer. Jared, I've been asking people this. I want to see if you remember.
Yeah.
Do you happen to recall in the early 2000s, for some reason, water gun technology was just off the chain?
They gave you sniper rifles in hand.
Like
literally, you could peg somebody in the eye from 50 feet.
Like,
not peg. That's the wrong word for it.
Do you remember? You might see it come up. Do you remember one of these things? It had a backpack.
No.
Like, look at this. Look at the screen. Let me know if you remember this at all.
It's like at a minute delay or something.
Okay, but like the tank was a backpack, and it was so heavy. Like I was a kid, so like a backpack full of water, I couldn't carry it.
Yeah.
Like that's what these things were
like. Wait, you actually wore this thing?
We had a friend that would every summer would have like the latest and greatest in water gun technology.
It's like the arms race.
Right, exactly. So like every year, like it was more and more stuff, and like one year. I don't remember if it was like one of these things. Now, I was looking these things up. This is a Super Soaker CPS 2000.
Yeah.
This pump system was originally designed for a spacecraft. And like by the time he got it, it was like a little bit old. So like it took you like 5 minutes to like pump it up all the way, and it had like a pressure gauge. But then once you let it go, it was like a Spartan laser. It was just like a single single concentrated beam that would like leave welts on you. It was so powerful.
Yeah, I guess like we remember that, but safety issues do come up. There's probably enough kids got hit in the goddamn eye that they had to like nerf it.
I looked that up. There didn't seem to be any like actual incidents of that. Like some people mentioned it, like they were getting like. Some kids may have gotten injured, but I think that the toy companies I read were just kind of like going away from these designs to something a little bit more cheap and manageable. Something that looked more toy-like. But I remember the whole thing culminated in this thing, the Super Soaker Monster XL. which I thought like okay,
It's a myth.
this was just big in my memory. It was just it was just a big gun. I looked this thing up. No, this is a massive water gun, and it should not have been put in the hands of children.
Definitely not in the hands of like people like us.
Has it come up yet?
No.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
I'm waiting.
Okay.
I'm like literally waiting.
So.
Oh my god.
Right.
There's a tripod.
It has like
tripod.
it has like legs. Like that's how friggin' huge is like. I remember this thing. You would fill it up. It was almost too heavy to carry.
Yeah.
You let it go, and it was like someone cracked open a fire hydrant.
Oh, I could just imagine like you get like as an adult, if I got like a group of like 50 dudes and like good friends together, and we all had like super soakers like that,
Right.
It would be anarchy.
Let's see if I can find it online. Super Soaker Monster XL. These things are going for. You can get it for $100 on eBay.
why are we funding this?
Okay, like it goes between like $100 and $300 depending on where you get it from. But right, but I was thinking about that recently. Like, and then just suddenly for some reason they just stopped making these. And like,
Because it probably blew a hole through some poor kid.
Yeah, right.
Some poor albino kid got a hole blown through his chest by a super soaker.
oh god.
Like the first time he was let out in the sun, and his mom has this like
Well, you remember we would get dropped off at like those like day programs from the
summer
summer,
cohesion.
and they would they have water day where you get to bring your water guns, and it was Fury Road for the whole day. It was
Back when you could be around a school with something that looked like a gun.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay, we're cutting that one out of the Spotify version.
Yeah, But I mean,
But
that's the reason why they don't have that anymore.
right,
But
they got water balloon still.
no, you can't throw water balloons on school property either.
Okay,
Anywho.
that's Jarrett's. Is that Jarrett's Nerf gun? No, Julia, listen to the episode.
Remember the Nerf gun you got when you got your appendix out?
Oh god, I get my appendix out. I'm there, recovering in the hospital. My brother over there and my sister take home my Nerf gun and instantly lose all the darts.
Most of them.
All of them.
Mo-
There was like one left.
And it was like that early prototype. Like Nerf was still pretty new, so it was like that early prototype where like it wasn't a suction cup; it was that gel.
Yeah, and it was so like they either got the suction cup ones or ones that had like a sticky gel. And then it wasn't until like 10 years later that they went to like just like the plastic tips.
Yeah, the plastic tips.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
So
And now they have like these like they like little water BB gels
right.
that you can shoot too.
Are they like degradable?
I guess so. Like they're kind of like Orbeez.
Yeah.
Like they fill like you put them in water, they fill up with water, and then
Oh.
you can put them in like a thing, and then they you shoot them.
So what happens if you can't find them?
Oh, they explode on contact.
Oh, okay, got it.
Like they're like but they're plastic.
Oh, that's still not good.
Yeah, it's not good. But I guess like we're looking at this gun, like the monster.
The Monster XL.
It must have been so expensive. Like you said, like that tubing in that one was like for spaceships.
Yeah. I'll
Like-
bet that's the other thing. Maybe parents just couldn't foot the bill every Christmas.
Well, I mean, if they're I mean, also like the overhead, like the price to make that thing probably was not worth it. I mean, today you could probably crank out those basic little water guns like for 10 cents a pop.
Right.
You know. This must have took like a team, like
Right.
like a team of scientists for each one.
I think for the next episode, I'm gonna see if I can find a video of people using this stuff because, in my memory, I'm just imagining Blastoise doing hydro pump both barrels.
It's like the kid version of Saving Private Ryan.
Oh god, yeah. Except like Waterworld,
Water.
but with but with more accidents, which is hard
Do you
to
know
do.
somebody died on that set?
Yeah.
Like they didn't find him.
They didn't wait. What?
Okay, so Waterworld was the biggest and most expensive movie at that time. Obviously, like the jet skis and everything. So what happened was one of the stunt guys that was on the jet ski, they were like, he just wasn't there anymore.
He's just gone.
He's just gone.
They're
Like on the jet ski, like the whole thing, like jet ski must have taken off. Like something must have happened. Like they never found him.
So he was just so it wasn't like okay they turn away they turn back and the jet ski is without a rider. It's like they turn back and the jet ski and rider are nowhere to be seen.
Yes.
So he might still be out there ruling his own Waterworld island.
He might have found Atlantis.
That's true.
They might look at like his jet ski like we look at the Monster XL.
Right? Oh god, yep. So
They're like down there, like, man, we don't make jet skis like this anymore.
remember in the 2000s when they made jet skis like this, bro?
You could ride them so far, you could go up to the surface.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's it for our anime episode
Well,
1.
for the first episode. So thank you guys for sticking with us. We took a few months off just for, a break. Obviously, we really like to
talk about stuff,
but we don't want to make this a job, as it were. So we do take breaks time to time. We do try to keep you guys up to date. Thank you guys for sticking with us and coming back. If you guys have any topics or shows you'd like us to go over or watch, message us on our Instagram or Facebook and leave your question or your comment and your preferred pronouns, and we'll answer it here on air.
And be sure to check out our TikTok and our Instagram. I'll be putting up questions, polls, my multiverse matchup where you get to decide who would win in a battle. I'm going to try to come up with some really, really toasty anime ones. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm really tired, You know what tomorrow morning I got to do?
No.
I'm going to go get coffee.
Where are you going to get coffee, Jarrett?
That was a good transition. You didn't even see that coming.
I mean, I knew something was coming, but... Okay, where are you going to get coffee, Jarrett?
I'm going to get coffee from Big Nerd Coffee Company down in Elmira. We went there for my birthday celebration.
That's right.
Yeah, we did.
We tried a couple other coffee flights, and I tell you what.
Oh, phenomenal. I didn't know they had iced coffee, like specialty iced coffee. And I got one of their everything bagels.
Yeah. I got their cowboy burrito, which is basically a Western burrito.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty delish. All right.
Delicious.
All right, so check out Big Nerd Coffee Company down there in Elmira. Check out their Facebook page to put an order in. I'd like to thank Julia, Matthew. What time for coffee? Matt wants to know what time for coffee.
Well, they open at 7 and they close at 2, so we can go anytime during that time.
And I'd like to thank Olivia for letting us know that we were having technical issues.
Yeah, she basically let us know that we had. Otherwise, we would have just kept going.
I'm glad somebody's on the ball.
Yeah, it's definitely not us.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Jimmy.
This has been Jarrett.
All right, you're going to delete all this, right?
Yeah,